Dear students, welcome to this lecture. Today's lecture is on topic load balancing approach. From the previous lecture onwards, we are discussing Unit 4 topics which covers under resource management chapter. So, in the last lecture, I have discussed with you about the task assignment approach in which each process is divided into multiple tasks and there will be an execution cost and inter-task communication costs where those individual tasks are assigned to the nodes in two ways. We have seen they are serial assignment approach and optimal assignment approach, and we also calculated the total cost of assignment in both the ways. So here in this lecture, another scheduling algorithm which uses load balancing approach are also known as load leveling approach. Load leveling algorithms. So these algorithms, as the name itself, we can recognize from the name itself that they are balanced evenly. Means whatever load is there in the distributed system, all the nodes, say for example if there are 3 nodes, in our yesterday's example we have 2 nodes, but most of the tasks are assigned to n1 because of less cost, right? n2 is assigned with 1, like that. So in that case the load is not distributed evenly, but here all the load in the distributed system will be divided even in a even manner. See here, so this algorithm tries to balance the total system load by transparently transferring the workload from heavy loaded nodes to lightly loaded nodes. Means if any node is having light workload, then it will transfer whatever load is bearing by this particular node is transferred to somewhat extent to lightly loaded nodes so that it will be distributed even. Next, the main goal of this algorithm is to maximize the total system throughput. So the rate at which it performs, or the production, or the rate at which it can give the output, can be considered as a throughput. So it maximizes, means it will be much faster. So basically load balancing algorithms are classified into two types. They are static and dynamic. Okay, load balancing algorithms are classified into static and dynamic. Further classification of static algorithms is deterministic and probabilistic. So this is the classification. In detail we will see in few minutes. And the next classification is dynamic. So here dynamic is again classified as centralized and distributed. You can see another hierarchy here. Distributed is again classified into cooperative and non-cooperative approaches. So this is the overall taxonomy of load balancing approach, and it is considered in a tree format, or you can think it as a hierarchy format. So we'll see about static versus dynamic, means when one of the type of load balancing approach. Okay, load balancing of static and dynamic. We will see first this one. Static algorithms will use only the information about the average behavior of the system. Means it will not consider the current state of the system, whereas the dynamic algorithms will react to the system state and it changes dynamically as per the situation. Okay, you all know about the difference between static pages and dynamic pages. Like that, static pages will contain the same text with the same figures every time if you open that web page, whereas dynamic content we are all seeing nowadays in every web page, the advertisements will load. After some time some new advertisements will load, so it is nothing but a dynamic page. Like that, these dynamic algorithms will always react to the system state. They will observe the system state and they will do the changes dynamically at the same time, and after some time it checks again the system state and it changes dynamically. So static load balancing algorithms are very much simpler. Why? Because there is no need to maintain and process the state information. If there is the processing of state information, it becomes somewhat complex. So these dynamic algorithms are complex to maintain and they respond to the system state. So we can avoid those states which will lead to poor performance. Means when going with static algorithms, it may lead to somewhat poor performance, but dynamic policies will have significantly greater performance than the static policies. So the static algorithms will use the information about the average behavior of the system. Means it will not consider how many nodes are there in the system, what is the workload among those nodes. It will not consider, it will simply ignore the current state of the system. Okay, but dynamic algorithms will always collect state information and it reacts to the system state if it is changed. Means it always considers the state information. Means what is the current state of the system, how many nodes are in working state, how many nodes are failed, what is the workload for different nodes. Simply it gets that information and it transfers if there is any node with heavy work. It simply transfers that workload to the lighter workload nodes. Like that, static algorithms are much more simpler. Why? Because they are not collecting any current state information. But here the dynamic algorithms are collecting state information, so they are somewhat complex than static algorithms, but they give better performance than the static algorithms. Next, we will see the classification of static load balancing algorithms. Already in the above figure, you have seen that static algorithms, load balancing algorithms are classified into deterministic and probabilistic. So, static load basing algorithms will be of these two types. So, what in deterministic algorithms means? The approach uses the information about the properties of the nodes. means how many nodes are there, how many processes are there in that particular system. If you consider n1 node, how many processors are there, what are the different resources it is holding, and what type of characteristics of the process means. Is it a lightweight process or a heavyweight process? Is it a thread? Like that, it will get the information about the nodes and the processes. And then, if in order to schedule it, it requires these information, and then it allocates the processes to the nodes with having this information. But here, in a probabilistic load balancing algorithm, it is an approach which may happen or not. Probabilistic means maybe, may happen, like that. This algorithm uses information about the static attributes of the system. Here it is using such as the number of nodes, the processing capability of each node, the network topology, what topology, either star, mesh, bus, what type of topology it is using, and then it formulates simple process placement rules, means to which process it can assign. So if you consider in general, the deterministic approach is difficult to optimize and it costs more to implement. Why? Because it need to gather the information, and this approach is very probabilistic approach is very much simpler to implement, but often it suffers from having poor performance. So in deterministic algorithms, they use the properties of the nodes and characteristics of process to be scheduled. Means it will get the prior information before scheduling of algorithms, and whereas in probabilistic algorithms it uses the static attributes of the system which may change or which may not change. So if there is any chance of occurring, then the performance will be more. Okay, but here in deterministic approach it is difficult to optimize, and this probabilistic approach will have a poor performance compared to deterministic approach. Now the classification of dynamic scheduling algorithms. So here these are classified into two types, centralized and distributed. So the responsibility of scheduling physically will reside on one single node in case of centralized system. We have already seen the centralized concept in mutual exclusion also, where there will be only one single node as a coordinator. Like that, here also in a centralized dynamic scheduling algorithm, the total responsibility of scheduling physically will reside on a single node. But in a distributed dynamic scheduling algorithm, the work will be involved with multiple nodes of the system, and the process assignment decisions is physically distributed among the various nodes of the system. Only difference is in centralized system it will be done from single node, but in distributed it will be done among the distributed nodes of the system, various nodes of the system. So the approach of centralized approach, the system state information is collected at single node. Okay, as there is only single node concept in centralized approach, all the system state information will be collected at central node, at which all the scheduling decisions are made. From there to which node the process should be scheduled, like that it will take care. So this node is called as centralized server node. Means the centralized server node is responsible for scheduling the decisions, and it will make those decisions. All the requests for process scheduling are handled by this centralized server node, and it also decides about the placement of new process using the state information. And only one problem which we know which is associated with centralized mechanism is that of its reliability. Means it may fail at any point of time, and it is one of the bottleneck problem. So in contrast to, in a distributed scheme, it does not limit the scheduling intelligence to one node. Okay. In a centralized scheme, the scheduling tasks is done by the server node, which we have seen just now. But here in a distributed scheme, it will be done by the nodes and the local controllers. See here, a distributed dynamic scheduling algorithm is composed of k physically distributed entities. So here each entity will be considered as a local controller, and this local controller will always run the process asynchronously and concurrently with the other entities, and it is only responsible for making scheduling decisions. Means each local controller can schedule the decisions for the processes among the predetermined set of nodes. There will be nodes n1, n2, n3. If there are any entities, even entity can schedule the process to n1. Like that, in a distributed approach, the dynamic scheduling algorithm is composed of k physical distributed entities. If you consider a fully distributed algorithm where each node will have its own entity, in such a case, if we consider entity as k and k is equal to n. Why? Because every node is having an entity. So, for a system having n nodes, k is equal to n is good. So, in short, if you see, in a centralized approach, it collects state information, and it can make efficient decisions, but it is having lower fault tolerance. Means fault tolerance means able to run even any faults will occur is fault tolerance. That is low. Means it cannot run in failures. Why? Because there is only single server node. If that one is failed total, system cannot function correctly, and moreover, if any node fails, it needs to recognize it, and it is somewhat slow process, so it can be considered as lower fault tolerance. And whereas in a distributed approach, it contains the set of entities, and those entities can make decisions on a predefined set of nodes. So these algorithms are avoiding the bottleneck problem of collecting the state information which is there in centralized approach. So they can react faster as there are local controllers, and they can react very much faster to every node. Now again, the distributed dynamic scheduling algorithms are classified into cooperative and non-cooperative algorithms. We have already discussed about cooperative and non-cooperative process in IPC. The same mechanism goes here. If the individual entities act as autonomous entities and they make the scheduling decisions independently of the actions of other entities, means it can depend, it cannot depend on any entity. It can take decisions as per its own. So those process or those entities which are independent of the actions of other entities, can make and makes decisions independently is nothing but non-cooperative algorithms, in which it acts as an autonomous entities. So all the entities involved in this type of algorithms act as autonomous, and they can make scheduling decisions. See, observe here, independently without depend on the actions of other entities. And whereas in cooperative, see here, in cooperative means this one is cooperative algorithms. The distributed entities cooperate with each other to make scheduling decisions. Means all the entities will have some communication and they will cooperate among themselves and they will decide on scheduling decisions. These cooperative algorithms are more complex and they involve a larger overhead. Why? Because they need to communicate and they need to cooperate with each other. That one will be simple in non-cooperative ones. So the stability of cooperative algorithm is better than that of non-cooperative algorithm. If you observe, the stability means when we take decisions among with the concern of other processes or others, it will be somewhat stable. If we go independently, it will be somewhat unstable. All the decisions may be unstable. So the stability of the cooperative algorithms is better than non-cooperative algorithms, that is which go independently. So in short, these entities act as autonomous one and they make scheduling decisions independently from other entities, whereas cooperative algorithms will cooperate with each other entities, and these algorithms are more complex and involve larger overhead, but they are providing better stability. So overall topics covered in this lecture are load balancing algorithms and the classification of load balancing algorithms. What is meant by load balancing algorithms? Load balancing algorithms are classified into static and dynamic. These static algorithms are again classified into deterministic and probabilistic, whereas this dynamic classification is like this: centralized and distributed. Further, distributed algorithms, scheduling algorithms are classified as cooperative and non-cooperative. I hope you all have understood this topic, load balancing approach. Thank you.